Okay, and I believe the text message is being sent out now. Just again, as a final reminder for our community that this is happening now.
Thank you for all of your help, Mr. Cisneros.
Of course, Miguel. Pleasure to serve. Let me double check that the text message is out. Yep, just got sent out. So in the interest of time, I guess we should get things started. I see we have a couple of people that have already joined us. So I want to just give a welcome to everybody who's joining us today. This is a very exciting presentation for the district, for the community, and for the city at large. It is a launch and an informational meeting of the Neighbor to Neighbor grant and program that we're going to be hopefully having here at the Arlanza neighborhood. When we say Arlanza, in this case, it's not just Arlanza Elementary School, it's the Arlanza neighborhood of the city of Riverside, which encompasses schools like Terrace, like Norte Vista, and our colleague here will explain that to you in just a bit. Ms. Kimberly, if you can advance the slide, please. Thank you. And first and foremost, on behalf of the Alvord Unified School District Board of Education, we want to thank you for your partnership. We want to thank you for your presence. We know that we do a really good job of educating your kids, but we aren't enough and we can't really maximize their education without you as partners. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And we have actually in the house, we're blessed to have Board Trustee Vega. Ms. Vega, would you like to say a couple words of welcoming our community, please?
Thank you, Dr. Cisneros. I just want to say thank you to everyone. On behalf of the Alvord Unified School Board, thank you for everyone being here. All of our partners, community members, residents, families that are joining us today. Like Dr. Cisneros says, we can't do this alone. We have to work together in order to benefit our students, our families, and our communities. So once again, thank you everyone for being here.
Kimberly, if you can advance, please. All right, so we do have at the bottom of your screen, you should see a couple of options. We have the question and answer, it's the Q&A. You can click that, and as you go through the presentation, if you have a question, you can type it in. We'll be monitoring that and addressing them as we go. If you would like to not type in the question, but you actually want to vocalize your question, you can raise your hand or you can just unmute your device and ask the question. We really want this to be an interactive dialogue, not necessarily just us talking at the community. También para nuestra comunidad que habla español, si necesita esta información en español, en la parte inferior de su pantalla debería de ver un globo. Con ese globo puede cambiar el idioma de inglés a español. Está nuestra campeona del distrito, la señora Raquel San Martín, que nos puede apoyar con esa interpretación. This session is also being live streamed. If you need to pop out of the session, it will be up on our YouTube page. It's alvordschools.org official. And just very saludos a la señora Lucy Sánchez, que la veo una campeona también de la vecindad de Arlanza. With that, Kimberly, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cisneros. So my name is Kimberly Morales, and I am a representative of the Riverside Community Health Foundation, and I'm going to be talking today about Neighbor to Neighbor and what it is. So this program was granted to the Arlanza community, and its goal is to combat the epidemic of loneliness through neighborly connection and volunteering in the Arlanza community. We are in partnership with California Volunteers, the Riverside Community Health Foundation, where I come from, Love Riverside, and the City of Riverside. We're going to make this happen. So the goal, we're going to make it happen by doing various things. One of those is leadership trainings. Those leadership trainings are going to be held to prepare leaders, such as many of you on this call, on how to hold community conversations regarding the well-being of the community. And I will stop to give Raquel a couple seconds to translate.
I'm sorry, Kimberly, the interpretation is happening simultaneously.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah,
Thank
there's
you.
there's a different channel, and Raquel is rocking and rolling as she's going.
Awesome. Okay, so another way that we will make this happen is by community projects. After you have received the training on the resident leadership training, we will have community projects where you will have already the tools and the resources on how to begin these community conversations, and you will begin to plan and implement projects that you see fit in your community. Another thing that we will do is education. Just being on this call, you're receiving the education on what this program is about. So it'll be things like today. So that'll help bring the feeling of belonging, because studies have shown that those who are connected to their neighbors experience better mental health, better health, and just a better overall well-being. When you feel like you're a part of a community, you tend to take pride in leadership in hopes to create a generational sense of belonging as well. So teaching your kids on areas that they can belong in their community. We'll also have education on how to stay active and ways to do so. We'll have education on how to alleviate stress, in addition to learning how to eat better daily. And then, of course, it wouldn't be an effort without those celebrations. So we want to make sure that you have a space where you feel you're supported. So within those celebrations, we will have that. And we'll have our amazing partners to create a space. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple slides down. So with any program, residents such as yourselves are at the center of this. We highly depend on the community, whether it's getting your input, sharing resources with others, or attending an event. We value your voice and acknowledge on how powerful it is in your community. We always want to consider your needs and how we can bridge gaps to meet those needs. So you're always at the center. And in case you're wondering what communities will be served within this program, we've broke it down into 5 that are in the Arlanza area. If you could see the map here, these are the areas that are going to be served. So Norte Vista, Terrace, Bryant, La Granada, and Wells. Within that, there are the schools of some of your children attend. So like Arlanza Elementary, La Granada Elementary, and so on.
Yeah, the schools in that boundary are Norte Vista High School, La Granada Elementary, Alvord Continuation High School is in there as well. It's actually Mission View now. We changed the name a couple years ago, so Mission View is there. We have Arlanza Elementary, Foothill Elementary, and Wells Middle School. So it's a pretty sizable portion of the district. And it's not exclusively, city. It is going to be a collaborative effort between the city, our partners, the district, and most importantly, as Kimberly just said, ustedes, la comunidad, you as a community in the center.
All right, we've already been doing the work as far as reaching the Arlanza community, and I'm going to allow Miss Elia to jump on the call and just explain a little bit more about this collaborative and what it does.
Thank you, Kim. And I will going to give the information in Spanish, and Kim help me with the interprete in English. Thank you. Gracias, Kim. Y lo que voy a decir es que hace 20 años formamos un grupo para mujeres líderes dentro de la comunidad que llamamos Más Mujeres Activas dentro de la comunidad. Y este grupo se creó.
Elia, I'm so sorry. If you're going to go into Spanish, then I'm going to change the interpretation quickly so that if you want to remain on the Spanish side, then you just stay here, or English side. That way we'll just, our community knows where to go in for the appropriate language. So let me update that. Okay, now if you're in this room and you're still hearing me, on the bottom of your screen, you're seeing an interpretation button. Click that and change the language into English. And then Raquel, it looks like you have a new challenge on your hands. You're going to be interpreting from Spanish to English. All right, Elia, adelante.
Ok, gracias. Pues como les decía que el grupo de Más tiene 20 años que se crió en el área de Arlanza, y el grupo es Mujeres Activas en la Salud, por sus siglas, MAS. Y este grupo se creó pensando en la misión. La misión de este grupo es crear y promover una comunidad autosuficiente a través de la educación, información y prevención. ¿Cómo hacemos esto? Pues capacitando a la comunidad para mejorar y mantener la salud y bienestar de los residentes de Arlanza. Y esta misión se ha logrado con la participación de diferentes líderes de diferentes organizaciones que tenemos dentro de la comunidad, pero también de las escuelas y las iglesias. Mujeres líderes que acuden mes tras mes a esta reunión para informarse acerca de lo que se ofrece tanto dentro del área de Arlanza como de otras organizaciones que vienen a proveernos información sobre recursos, eventos, cualquier otra información que nos ayude a mejorar nuestra salud dentro de la ciudad de Riverside, no nada más dentro del área de Arlanza. Y nosotros, como organización, Riverside Community Health Foundation, ofrecemos tópicos sobre salud, diferentes tópicos y también diferentes recursos. Nosotros nos reunimos el cuarto martes de cada mes en el Centro Comunitario de Arlanza, O'Brien Park, como lo conocen en los diferentes residentes de la comunidad. Estas reuniones son de 10 a 12. Son completamente en español y, por supuesto, tenemos traducción en inglés y tenemos algunos participantes que no hablan el idioma. Entonces, nosotros los invitamos para que participen dentro de este grupo de mujeres. Claro que también asisten hombres, ¿verdad? Pero la mayoría somos mujeres, como les comenté, líderes dentro de la comunidad, de diferentes organizaciones. Ellas nos llevan algunas inquietudes que tienen, algo que quieran que presentemos dentro de este grupo. Así es de que las invitamos para que nos acompañen. Nuestra próxima reunión será el próximo martes 28 de mayo, como les dije, de 10 a 12 en el Centro Comunitario de Arlanza, O'Brien Park. Así de que espero ver a más de una de ustedes por allá el próximo martes. Gracias, Kim.
Gracias, Celia.
Okay, I'm gonna switch the interpretation back. And then I also want to say a quick note of thanks and welcome to one of our board members who has joined us, Ms. Julie Moreno. Thank you, Ms. Moreno, for joining us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
All right, are we good to go, Alejandro?
Yes, go ahead.
Awesome. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to discuss a little bit more on the events that are going to be happening to help you all feel like you belong, to have also a celebration where you come together and just enjoy the company of one another. So Love Riverside, which is one of the partners on this program, will be hosting a kickoff event that is placed to be held on the 29th. The location as of now is at Bryant Park. So I hope that's a park that's familiar to you all, and it will be from 9 to 3. So save the date for that. And if you need more information, there is a phone number here provided to you all where you can contact and get some more information on the event.
So Kimberly, as I'm reading this, I think me as a community member, I would like to know a little bit more information. So I'm gonna maybe push on you a little bit to say, so we're being invited to MAS, we're being invited to this kickoff festival, but what is this all for? I don't know that I've really seen that, and so I'm sitting here kind of waiting for the punchline, and maybe it's coming. So you can maybe tell us a little bit more about the programs, right?
Yeah, so the event that's happening as far as the kickoff event, this is within the Neighbor to Neighbor. We have planned something like the kickoff festival to have all of you come together as neighbors and have a good time, but also just learn about how you can be connected with one another. And we're also going to have some information on the Resident Leadership Academy that I was mentioning. As far as MAS goes, this is something that we've already had in the community, like Elia mentioned, for 20 years. So we've already been connecting the Arlanza community in ways that they can improve their community, communicate with one another as far as neighbors, and just come together. I don't know if Miguel, you want to jump a little bit more on just clarifying the ask, if I missed anything.
You're doing a fantastic job. Keep in mind that these community engagement events are to make sure that our residents are really working alongside all of our partners to determine what's going to be happening in your community. So when you come to the kickoff event, you're getting an opportunity to share exactly what your thoughts are about your community, what you'd love to see, the activities you want to engage in. And you'll hear a little bit more about this from Lynn Heatley and her team.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, go Grace.
Yes. Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to be in this meeting today. First off, yes, we're hosting this kickoff festival on June 29th from 9 to 3 p.m. And really, this event is an event for us to connect with the residents of Arlanza. We really want to connect with you. We really want to connect you with other residents of Arlanza. We want to hear your voice. We want to know what changes you want in your community. And this kickoff event is just like a big celebration to get to know you, aside from providing resources to the community as well. We plan to have different resources, food, music, opportunity drawings, and we invite you to come out with us. We want to meet you, and registration for this event is important. So if you guys do want to register, I do ask that you guys call the number that's on the screen or text that number and let us know that you want to participate in the Arlanza kickoff. And we will let you know once the registration opens for you to sign up.
Thank you, Grace. I'm glad you're on the call. All right. So like we mentioned earlier, things are happening in a chronological order. So first, we're going to have the kickoff event where we're all getting to know you all more, getting just to know the needs that you all have as a community. Then we're going to ask that if you're interested and have a passion for changing your community, that you also sign up for the academy that we're having. This academy is going to be about 10 to 12 weeks, and it's called the Resident Leadership Academy. Within this academy, you're going to be provided with the tools and resources on how to transform your community. I know it sounds intimidating, but we're going to provide you with all of the tools and resources on how to host and start those conversations to begin these changes in your communities. So I am sure many of you have seen us out in the community already, just taking data from you all, asking you all to engage in surveying. And the reason why we're doing all of this is because it's going to go back into the Resident Leadership Academy. And all of the data that's going to be provided to you all in the academy is going to be used to make those changes within your community. So it's really important. And we really depend on that engagement and that feedback from you all. And within, I think, yeah, within RLA, you're asking like, how does it benefit my community? Well, it's honestly authentic community engagement. Why? Because you want to be there. You want to engage. You want to be that difference. You're not there because you're forced to. You're there because you want to be that change. You want to make sure that the next generation to come can enjoy the changes that have been made prior to them being in that community. Also, we wanted to reduce the health inequities that are currently happening, right? And we also just overall want to improve the quality of life. Whether that is, we've heard a lot like reducing the speed that happens on some of these streets, right? So that promotes more walkability, that makes you want to walk more, make you want to use your bike more. It just improves your quality of life overall. Building local leaders. So, after you have all of the resources, all of the tools, you will be that leader in your community, and people will come to you and ask you, well, how can I do this? How can I get a sidewalk? How can I go about this? And you're going to have those tools and those resources to provide them with those answers. And then just creating a healthier, more connected neighborhood. Like I mentioned earlier, data does show that when you are connected to your neighbor, you go out to these meetings, you attend these events, that your overall health just improves. So the Resident Leadership Academy, we do know that it is a commitment because it is 10 to 12 weeks. We do ask for availability and work really around the schedule and availability of the participants. It is a 2-hour session, and it is a 2-hour session once a week. We're going to be learning on all of the things that we just mentioned on how to transform your community, how to just speak to local representatives, how to do all those things. At the end of the Resident Leadership Academy, you will be given an opportunity to have a project of your own cohort. So it'll be really exciting to see some of the projects that come about and to see how creative you all can get on improving your community. And then the big question, right? Like, how does this benefit me? How does the Resident Leadership Academy benefit me? Why should I do this? Well, the nice thing about this and the beauty about this is that you decide how it fits into your life, how it benefits your life, right? Whether it's having that knowledge or understanding on how to do things and how to go about getting things done in your community, or whether that's through a community improvement project. If you notice, hey, I think it would be really cool to have a garden here, and that's something that your cohort wants to do, you can do that. And you're going to have the tools and resources on how to do that, how to begin that conversation, how to meet with your local representatives. So it's a really cool opportunity. Of course, improving the quality of your life. We want to make sure that you're improving yourself, but also you're improving your family, that those generations to come have that improvement and that quality of life that they're going to be proud of. And then the beauty of it all is that you get to see results in real time. So we've seen some awesome things and some really creative projects come about the Resident Leadership Academy. And then the next slide, you'll be able to see some examples. So some of the things that have happened with this academy, this is in the east side of Riverside, so literally in the same city. This is an alleyway that has been transformed. So prior to it being transformed, there were a group of individuals that took the Resident Leadership Academy, 10 to 12 weeks, 2-hour sessions. And after they graduated, they all came together and they identified this alleyway as an area to improve. They identified it as an area to improve because their kids were using this alley on a daily basis to get to and from school. It wasn't paved. It wasn't the safest of the areas. And they just wanted to improve their children's commute. So I'll show you what they did. So they had all of the tools, right? They knew how to communicate with local partners. They attended the meetings with representatives and they brought up their concerns. And eventually they were able to get this area paved. So this is an actual picture of, I want to say a couple weeks ago. So it took time. Like any great project takes time, but this is what they've been able to achieve. So they were able to pave the area. So kids are now able to walk through it without, getting anything stuck in their shoes or having injuries and so on. But they also added art to it. Now they also have these beautiful planters that have succulents, and the children, when they commute to school, so this is on the commute to Longfellow Elementary. And when they commute to school, they're able to pick a succulent and give it to their teacher, kind of like give your teacher an apple. Well, they're able to give their teacher a plant that they're able to care for and just keep the generosity going. So it's a really cool project. There are really awesome outcomes out of these. And of course, it takes that time and dedication, but it wouldn't be anything without our residents and participants. There's also another alleyway that was adopted, and this is behind Ottawa. I think the main street here is University. So it's University in Ottawa. It's behind the laundromat in the east side of Riverside as well. And this is an alleyway that was also transformed. It was another area that was identified. This area was used by youth to get to and from school as well. But in this area, they noticed that there was a lot of littering, but also it wasn't the safest of zones because cars would speed in that area. And again, students would use this area to get to and from school. It was their commute. So again, we had another graduate cohort and they identified this area as an area to transform. And because of their great dedication and all that they did in that alleyway, it was actually adopted by Keep Riverside Clean and Beautiful. So that alleyway is adopted by the Healthy Living Project youth. So those are some of the accomplishments that you can gain from just taking this academy. One of the things that we are having is a little different from the Resident Leadership Academy is we're reaching out to leaders in your community, such as yourselves, with this Train the Trainer session. What it is you're going to be the facilitator. What that means is that we're going to train you, whoever's interested, to be facilitators, to have the skills to lead a class and teach participants on the education on how to transform their community. It is also a 10 to 12 week training program that will educate you on how to transform your community, address community issues, and you're able to build a secure network within this training. So it's a really good opportunity to just have those skills, being able to facilitate, present in front of people that want to be there, that want to make that change. So it's a really good program. If you're interested, we're asking people already to start signing up. I know Alejandro and I have already spoken about some people that are already interested, and he already identified some people that would be awesome candidates for Train the Trainer because he sees you all in the community and he sees the change that you have done, and he sees you on a daily basis being at certain elementary schools, participating in the food pantry, and so on and so forth. So I know that we're going to have great trainers, but we wanted to just open it up to you all and give you an opportunity to sign up if you're interested. We do have this flyer available and we will be sharing it. Does anyone else want to add anything else on Train the Trainer?
I just wanted to say that I see some of those leaders in the Zoom meeting, and so you'll probably be receiving a call from me.
Thank you, Alejandro. We appreciate that.
It's
And I will
exciting.
say that keep in mind that that when we first piloted the first version of this, it was done in another community, the east side of Riverside, very, very similar to what we have in our Lanza community and also another community called Casablanca as well. All of our communities are very similar. I actually grew up in the east side community. So I've seen the transformation. In fact, Mr. Cisneros and I, we both went to North High School. So we understand the needs of our communities and how these types of programs can actually reshape an entire area. And I will tell you, growing up as a kid, I was stabbed 4 times just getting to and from school. So it was a very dangerous time. These kinds of projects, being that they are resident-led, meaning you as community leaders are working with your neighbors to design and develop projects that are going to benefit your community. That is the most important element to this entire thing. It's different when government, school, or other entities come and tell you exactly what you should be doing and what's best for you. It doesn't work this way. This grant is specifically so we can get feedback. So with Love Riverside, this event that's going to be happening, the kickoff, it is so imperative that we have community members like you telling us exactly what it is that's important to you. What's relevant to your community? What are the issues that you're facing in your neighborhoods? The project scope, there is one task in there that are not to be confused with community improvement projects. They're community impact projects, of which Lynn Heatley and her team, Grace and Lynn, they're going to be leading the charge with about 27 beautification initiatives in the community. So this is where your voices, your work in conjunction with our community can literally help reshape. I know there's a community garden already there in your communities. If the concern is walkability, bikeability, this data that is captured from these types of connections can go a very long way. And to give you an example of that, the residents of Eastside Active in Leadership, when they went through the academy and they graduated, they became members of the residents, this whole academy partnership. The data they were able to capture from their communities going out surveying, they did, they literally stood on corners just counting how many cars would come by a certain area, taking pictures, counting how many students came through certain alleys. Those alleys that were chosen, they identified hundreds of community members that were walking through those. When you saw the before picture where it was unpaved dirt road, kids during the rain walking through those communities, not acceptable. the city was able to take that data and apply for active transportation program grant funding, bringing in over $300,000 so that we could repave those, put in an art corridor, bring in better lighting, speed feedback signs to help reduce speed in certain areas. So just know that the work that will be done through this is going to impact your community in a positive way. How that happens will be shaped by you as residents. So this training is extremely important and valuable, not only for us as partners, but also for the city as a whole campaign for beautification and quality of life.
And you know, Miguel, as you and Kimberly were presenting and sharing about this program, my antennas went up because there's been conversations for years about traffic, safety, speeding cars, and then you also mentioned community garden. We have a community garden in the Orlando neighborhood right on Cypress that needs a lot of love. So there are, I think this area is, first of all, congratulations to the team for writing and being awarded this grant. Congratulations and thank you. But I think this area is ripe for this. I think we're ready.
Absolutely. This is probably one of the most enthusiastic things that I can take away from this entire thing is the fact that you have a body of community members who have already been striving to make your community a better place. Every single one of you here have been working toward this end. What we are hoping to do is walk alongside with you to help you in this journey. Provide you any and all resources that we possibly can, and if it's within our wheelhouse, to also help bring in other grant funding in partnership with the school districts, our faith-based institution, community-based organizations, and other entities. Really, the crux of this is to bring light to the needs of our community here in your area and try to come up with tangible solutions. So each one of these cohorts that take place, just know that you will be designing your own projects that you want to see tackled, and we will come up with solutions. And I will tell you, I am currently working on these solutions to the residents of Eastside Active in Leadership. And it's amazing what can be accomplished. Absolutely amazing. They just did a bikeability event to bring in more activity, physical activity for our kids in the community. So over 110 bicycles distributed. There's so many different things that can happen from this. And really the idea is, let's connect all of you. Bring as many of our community members together to start collaborating and working toward a greater Arlanza vision, right? So we're enthused and hopeful that we'll get good participation. So if you know of any community members that you think would be great for a Train the Trainer, invite them, share this with them, please. This is probably, to me, word of mouth is so very important. You know people in your community that have been working toward this, that have wanted something like this for many, many years. So if you can share this, it would do us a great service.
Thank you, Miguel. I think the important part too to add in there is that, like Miguel mentioned, work alongside. We're working alongside you all. It's a support, it's a network that you will always have. We will never abandon you. So even after you graduate, we'll always be there. And I just want to open the floor to any questions. I know it was a lot of information, a lot of exciting news also. So I just wanted to open it up to any questions, comments, or concerns.
Yeah, I would like to maybe just ask and elevate that, but maybe ask our community members who are here, whether you're a parent. I also see our board is here. I see Mr. Sean O'Rafferty. He is a teacher in the district and the vice president of our teachers union. Thank you, Mr. O'Rafferty, for being here. What are the issues that you're seeing in the community? And what do you think this can help to address? And you all know I was a teacher, so don't make me call on you. Yeah.
Alejandro, are people able to unmute themselves?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Great.
I'll start off kind of light, and I'll pick on some of my friends. Miss Lucy Sánchez, señora Sánchez, ¿podría prender su micrófono? ¿Qué son algunos de los problemas o, no sé, preocupaciones que ustedes tienen en la vecindad del área de Arlanza?
Buenas tardes a todos. En este caso, el tráfico. En la mañana hay niños que caminan prácticamente solos. A veces no respetan el señalamiento en la pasada entre la calle Rutland y la Trey, porque hay una persona que cuida el tráfico en la Cypress y en la Rutland, y en la Fielding y en la Rutland, pero en esa parte siempre ha existido ese problema. Primero, porque hay mucho carro estacionado. Segundo, porque muchos papás manejan inconscientemente y se dan la vuelta en U donde no es correcto. Y en realidad, en la mañana van todos acarreados, yo sé, algunos al trabajo, a la escuela, y se pasan el stop y casi lo andan atropellando a uno.
Okay. So I'd like to translate that so we don't have to switch back and forth. Muchas gracias, Lucy. She mentioned traffic, parents driving really fast at drop off in the morning, people making illegal U-turns. She highlighted that there is a crossing guard on Cypress and Rutland, but on Rutland and Trey, there isn't. And so that's one of the issues that she's seeing in the neighborhood. Kimberly, Miguel, and team, is that something that, you know, we could maybe, is that something that the community could address through this? Is there a connection there?
Yeah, it is definitely something that can be addressed. It has to be presented by the community members, such as Lucy. And thank you so much for giving that feedback. But yes, it is something that can be addressed, and I'll give you an example of how that has been addressed in the east side, since we have been doing some of this work there. They have been provided with traffic circles. One of the cohorts did suggest that the traffic did need to be a little bit more controlled because they were having similar issues, and they have traffic circles now in that area. I think I want to say they have 5, Miguel, traffic circles in the east side now. They might have more because they're still working on that and they're still getting traffic circles, but it is something that can be addressed after taking the academy and having all of those resources and tools on how to go about that.
Thank you. Thank you. And then maybe if we could, if I could switch my own question, instead of asking, you know, what are the issues that you're seeing? I'd like to know from our community, what are the assets, what's already existing in the community that can be highlighted? And I was just going to pick on Francisca. She just put something in the chat, so she knows me. She knows me. She knows she was next. She said, una de las grandes preocupaciones son las pandillas locales. Señora Francisca, ¿podría abrir su micrófono y decir un poco más de eso? Saying one of the biggest concerns is local gangs. Maybe she's not able to open up her microphone.
You know, thank you for sharing that, Francisca. I will say that that was also a large concern with the first group that we started this with in the East Side community of Riverside. They had something very similar, and to share a couple of just so you can get a grasp of like how some of their community. Francisca, ¿cómo está? You can hear us.
Por fin lo pude abrir, sí, no podía abrir mi micrófono. Sí, pues sí, como siempre hemos tenido preocupaciones por las pandillas, pero más que nada parecía como que ya no estaban habiendo muchas y ahora está viéndose muchos jóvenes, muy jóvenes, reuniéndose otra vez, formando pandillas aquí en Atlanta.
Are those activities that you're seeing with people getting together something where you see them like in the parks, in the community centers? Are we seeing a lot of graffiti on businesses, walls, along public areas, Ms. Francisca?
Sí, sí, se está viendo mucho otra vez.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that is because we saw something similar with the first cohort when we started this, and some of the ideas they came up with. And again, this is not to influence you in any way, shape, or form in your community, but just to give you kind of examples of what we're done there and how you can utilize not only the training, but along with your communities, do something similar. So we saw a lot of vandalism and graffiti that was gang related in the east side, specifically along certain buildings, key locations that were very visual. You can see them along a main road, and there was always graffiti. We actually used murals and community art as a way to combat that. Actually, since those murals were done over 7 years ago, they were not vandalized. We haven't had a single incident, except very recently with one of our parks, where it was, and we would go back and touch it up. But these are the kinds of activities and things that, as you think about these projects, when you think about community engagement, how we as neighbors are connecting, think about the power behind consistency, right? Continual activities, having things happening at the parks, these meetings that could be happening. So instead of having a meeting take place, in the morning at 9 o'clock in a community center, having them take place at somebody's home, at a location where you have the activity that's happening, bringing your community partners like Love Riverside, the city of Riverside, even some of the agencies that have helped us in the past, like our police officers that come out and they're just there giving safety classes, doing things like that. There's so much that can come from this. So it's these kinds of ideas that sprout from the conversations of the needs in your community. So, oh gosh, I can't wait, because Francisca, I know you're going to be an amazing RLA trainer, right? We look forward to having you with us, because we need that enthusiasm and that energy. That's really what's going to drive these projects and make sure that they're successful. And remember, these kind of leadership academies will only work if you are supported by every partner at the table. And here we're so fortunate that we have the school district, we have the city council. You've got two of your council members here today and their offices. You have Council Member Hemingway, you have Council Member Jim Perry and their staff here, Lizeth and Sandy. They've been very diligent in working on these community-based issues. And so your voices, along with the power behind your local government and the school board and all of our community-based organizations, that's how you make an impact. And that's why these trainings are so very, very important. So we need as many hands as possible to do this amazing work that will happen here.
And I just want to add to that, Miguel. Thank you so much, Francisca, for working through the technical issues
De nada, gracias.
and being able to share. But we have noticed also that when there
De
is
nada, gracias a ustedes.
when there is a strong presence and there's these community groups out in the community, that they're being respected. The work that they're doing is being respected. So once they start seeing all of that, they do get respected, and all of the work and efforts that you do seem to be untouched, like Miguel mentioned.
We have something in the chat from Jolene. Thank you, Jolene. Hello, my concern is the ever-present homeless, especially on Van Buren. Is that something that maybe and as Miguel said, we don't want to influence the process one way or the other, but is that something that collectively the community can come together and try to address? Is that out of the scope of this? Does that fit in?
Remember that connecting neighbors to neighbors, the goal is to try to bring people together and to communicate. When you have unhoused community members, which seems to be a growing population, there's also a need there. So if the need is to connect them with services, then those are the kinds of things that you can have community-led initiatives behind that. You've all heard of something called the point in time count that's done countywide, right? It's a day where you get a number of volunteers to come out and find our unhoused community members and talk to them, figure out what's going on in their lives, what's happening, why are you here, what kind of services can you do. Imagine that on a localized scale with community members, leaders, where things like that happen. Again, we're not trying to sway anyone in any way, shape, or form, and I should probably just be quiet at this point, but there's so many things that can come about. So when you think about what this grant is, just remember, the main focus is to make sure that our community members are connected, that you're going over quality of life concerns, discussing them, and coming up with your own solutions from that. So our goal is to simply bridge the gap between what the government is looking to fund and the voices of our communities, which are all of you. So connecting you and making sure that you have your community engagement plan, your quality of life plan. These are going to be the things that are relevant. And so when the question comes up, are these things that can be done? Just remember, we're connecting you. You're communicating amongst your residents. You are creating action plans to identify how you can make your community a better place. And with sustainability in mind, that's the thing that's most important here. Somebody can come in and say, we got $10,000. Vámonos, let's see what we can do with that and how far it goes. And then tomorrow, nothing. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainability. If you want true and lasting change, it has to be something that's a sustainable model as well. So when you think about the concepts and how we're doing this, that's what's embedded into this training. And I kid you not, when I sit here and I tell you, I've got these training manuals in my desk, I've got so many of these. This is an amazing curriculum that you're going to lean on for quite a while, because in here, you are going to take strategies. You will be able to go to workshops whenever you sit in one of these meetings with community partners. And from your questions on concerns, can this be something? You can see how I'm just on the fly coming up with these kinds of things. That's because of this type of training. That's what we want from each and every one of you. That's what we need you to have, this skill set, because it's so valuable. And these are things, by the way, that every one of us have learned from our parents as we were growing up. We've learned how to communicate with others, and to a certain extent, we've lost a little bit of that. Right? When's the last time you went to a tardeada, an evening chill session at a neighbor's house? When's the last time you were able to go down to another neighbor's house and say, vecino, here's this. I know you've been sick for a little bit. These kinds of things, we need to have a stronger connection among our community. That's how you'll make change. So I'm going to stop ranting now, because again, I do not want to give ideas. This is your community. Your ideas will come about. So Jolene, I look forward to you being in our training, because you are another one of those leaders who I know will come up with some amazing strategies for all of us.
Yeah, somebody needs to give Miguel a mic so he can just keep dropping it. Miguel, you are coming with passion today. Thank you.
I'm so motivated, and I have to tell you all, I am a product of these programs. I truly believe that if it were not for our community leaders like yourselves, things would never have changed in our city. We have our electeds who rely so much on us to be the voice. We're telling them what to do. This is so very important for you to understand. I just need you to know that there were people in my life when I was a kid who told me this, who were here for me. We're here to make sure that you understand that you are the leaders. You're gonna carry that torch for that next generation and inspire them. So I can't wait, and I hope that you can all bring a neighbor, bring a friend, somebody that you think would be fantastic for this training, because this is truly going to be a game changer. And I think your voices are going to be, you're going to be amazed at what you're going to be able to accomplish here. And we're looking forward to go alongside with you in this journey.
Thank you for that, Miguel. And then I also had wanted to know, and instead of elevating just the issues that we see, what are the assets? What's beautiful? What do you feel is working in your neighborhood? Hopefully the school district, of course, we know that. But besides the school district, what else do you enjoy? What else do you appreciate about the area where you live?
Pues lo bonito es tener líderes como ustedes, como el señor Cisneros y como Miguel y Elia y el grupo de más, y todo eso es lo bonito de esta comunidad.
Gracias. She said that one of the beautiful aspects is having leaders such as Miguel, such as Elia, such as the MAS group. Thank you, Francisca. Anybody else? Aggie, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Agueda Oyola. I'm with the City of Riverside. I do want to say that initially we did a little bit of outreach with the community in conjunction with RCHF. We went out and just wanted to hear the voices of the community, and we heard a lot of like, I know my neighbors, they've been there for years. They love the park, Bryant Park, and the activities that are there. The schools, and that they're close by. So there are a lot of positives. There's churches close to them. They're able to walk to a local store. There's there's a lot of different dynamics about the Arlanza community that brings community together. And there's generations upon generations that have been there. Although we've been finding that new neighbors are coming into the community, and that's really an opportunity to for this program to start connecting others with the new neighbors that are coming in, the generations that are coming back. We have people that shared that their children left and then they came back, to their neighborhood and that community. So it was really a good experience to learn about a little bit more about the Arlanza community, as we've been doing activities there, for years. In partnership with RCHF back when we used to have, health fairs, and with Councilmember Perry's office, the Posadas, and we did some health stuff, like health fair type stuff with Spring into Health some years back ago with CalFresh. So a lot of different opportunities that we've had there. And now this is really that added layer that we've been waiting for as a whole, to bring the circle, bring everything full circle, so that we can learn much more about the community and the neighbors that are in there. They had a lot of very nice things to say of their community, and I know that there are challenges, and I'm hearing the challenges as well. And this is a wonderful opportunity, like Miguel, Kimberly, and Dr. Cisneros have shared with you all, that these opportunities to be trained, to learn how to advocate, to speak to new neighbors, maybe across town or across one of the big highways or something that you don't normally go to. This will give you all an opportunity to, what I call, cross collaborate and cross pollinate, and work together as a unit. I also want to acknowledge that we do have Liseth, also from the council member's office, and Albert, but she also has Linda here with her. I have my team, which is Amaris Gonzalez and Jesse Noriega, is also here on this call as well. The city is a part of this program, overseeing and managing the oversight of the grant with the state of California. So I wanted to not only take the time to acknowledge the great things in Arlanza, but I wanted to make sure that you all knew the faces behind this as well.
Thank you so much for that, Maggie.
If I can really
Thank you.
quickly, I would just like to share a sentiment to piggyback off of what you were just sharing with everyone. Is one of the most beautiful qualities that our Arlanza community possesses is their willingness to show up. And seeing so many of you all here from different organizations and different areas of the city and the community, your willingness to be here is what's going to make this so successful. And I just really applaud each and every single one of you, because the most beautiful thing is when community comes together, and that's happening here today. So thank you so very much. This is how Arlanza and the entire city will continue to thrive.
Definitely. The work cannot be done with all of you here on this call. So with that being said, if there's nothing else, any other questions or anything you want to highlight, I'm just going to move on to contact information, because like we mentioned, we are here to support you all with anything that you have come up. Please feel free to use this as a resource. This is our contact information, our extensions go directly to our cell phone, so you'll be able to call a real number. Our emails, we're always checking those on a daily basis. Here's my contact information, Elias as well, and if any of the other team members want to drop their contact information in the chat, please feel free to do so. But thank you so much, Alejandro, for working so diligently to have this call for us and having us being able to speak to all of you. We really appreciate your time and your presence.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this for us. Thank you for advocating for us. Thank you for bringing us this money, for setting this up for us. This is going to be just game changer for the Orlanza neighborhood. Similar to what you did in the East Side, we want some of that love over here too, and you all are bringing it to us with also not just kind of bringing it to us, but also elevating the leaders in the community, not saying this is what we think you need. It's what do you need now? Let's work together to make it happen. I can't thank you enough and tell you how excited I am to be a partner in this group and to have the district be a partner as well. And with that, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you all for being here. Adios, everybody. Take care. Have a blessed night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. And thank you again to Raquel San Martin, our interpreter. We couldn't do this work without you. Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias, Raquel. Thank you, Raquel.